just to show you how involved sometimes making these cars show ready, more and more stuff just gets taken apart. So one of the issues I had on this car is we had a big scratch on the window. So I had to take the door out, or the door frame out. So let me use this black t-shirt. It might be a little bit easier for you to see the scratch. So I don't know if you could see that scratch. Yeah, it's right there. So anyway, when you see that scratch, that's a big deduction. I mean, it not a big one, but it can easily be a half-point deduction. Now, again, on these cars, every point counts, and I've got 3 points to play with. And when I saw that scratch, I was like, these are the things that we have to make that decision. How far are we going to take this? Are we going to take the glass out and change it? We have some other issues here because this car has a stamping on the window, which it needs to be replaced. I'm trying to see, where is it? It's very light on this window, but it definitely has, this is part of the original window. So yeah, it's right there. You could just see it on this corner. But anyway, I'm getting a new piece of glass made and created and put it in this car, but I had to take the glass out. The problem with taking the glass out is the only way on a GTC the glass comes out is I have to take the door frame out, or the window frame. When I got the window frame out, two things happened. One is one of the capture nuts seized in the nut. So the bolt seized, it's had to get it drilled out, so I'm gonna have to fix that. And then the other problem is the glass itself has a bracket that is completely rotted. So luckily I can get this bracket. So when I get the new piece of glass, I'm going to put a new bracket in. Yeah, it looks like this car, I don't think this door frame was taken out when it was painted, because a lot of the original felts and things like that this looks pretty original. Pretty good shape. I mean, it looks rough, but I don't think it's that bad when you think about it's lasted this long and the chrome is holding up really well. However, that's why this thing is so rotted, because all the years of water dripping down the window and then collecting at the bottom of the window is rusty, and that's why it's rusted out. So have to replace that now. And it is kind of like a slippery slope, because the other window is also got problems, and it just it's just one step at a time, you know, just trying to put this car back together. I've got the steering wheel back in, I've got the gauges cleaned. I mean, things are coming along inside, but it's projects like these that you just wonder, oh my God, how far are we going to take it? But trying to keep it under control, but also making this car right so that we have a chance at winning something at Cavallino in a few months. Well, I got the new window installed. It has a nice fresh stencil, but if you remember, I removed this window because it had a big scratch in it. So put the new one in, and got it in, and everything looks pretty good, and it's no longer had the scratch. I mean, that's unfortunately what we got to do to gain that little point deduction if they saw the scratch. But it was a little bit of a struggle, because you know, all these cars are handmade. So when you take something out and you put a new one in, even if it's exactly the same size, it still doesn't fit quite right. So there's shims in here that you have to decide if you're going to use, if you're not going to use. Also, Ferrari has this wonderful little cable pulley system to move the window up and down. So you also have to check that too. So right now, most important thing on these windows is to make sure that they go up and down well. So, I mean, the cable makes its own little noises. You try to keep it from binding, but you know, it's moving up and down pretty well. So also you have to kind of find a sweet spot, because this cable, you know, it'll move a little further up and down, but you have to find a point in which you can attach the window to the cable, so it'll move nice and smoothly. But this one looks like a good spot. So I'm ready to put all the other stuff back together. I tried to take this thing apart without taking all the weather stripping off, so I have to kind of get everything kind of pieced back together. I've also got the special special pop rivets. They're smaller than normal, so I have to put those back in and get those installed. Put the little correct clips and things like that in place. So you know, slowly have to put that in here. But now that I got the door working, all the mechanisms connected, and the door closes correctly, now it's time to put the rest of the door panel and all those little pieces together. But finally I can get this door back together. The left door is all installed. Got it all back together. Got all the correct little pop rivets in place. It just needs a good cleaning, but everything fit back together pretty nicely. So the problem I had was I was trying to talk myself out of doing the right door, just simply because this left door was so much trouble. But when I came over and looked at it, there are a couple things wrong with this right door. I mean, again, this is the you know, show level stuff that we're dealing with, that we're trying to correct. You're missing a pop rivet, not a big deal, I could fix that. But the ones that they used on this side are oversized, so they're the wrong size. It looks like they're cup washers underneath, but they didn't use the little ones. So hopefully the holes aren't too big that I can't secure the little ones in there. I'm gonna have to figure out something. But the other thing I noticed is there's no felt strip, wiper strip on the inside of the chrome on the outside of the door. So, you know, you can kind of see it, and if somebody were really looking, they would notice that there's no wiper strip. I think I have some somewhere. You know, I could put some in there and install it. But yeah, I mean, and also this has the scratch in it. You can see that big scratch in the glass. So I guess I'm taking this door apart. Just like the other side, I had to look to see where the fasteners were so I could take the armrest out first. Once I got the armrest out, I was able to pop the door panel out pretty easily. Then the next step was to figure out where the fasteners were. It looks like they pop riveted some of these pieces in, so I had to drill those out first instead of using regular screws. Once I got the cap plate off, I was able to figure out how to unbolt the window frame from the door. Still had to drill out some of the pop rivets from the trim and weather strip, but it all came out relatively quickly simply because I had done it before. The next step was to lower the window and disconnect the window from the cable mechanism and get that apart so I could release the door frame. Getting the window frame out is always a little bit of a challenge because these cars all had shims and spacers that were used just to get the door frame to fit correctly in the door. So every car is a little bit different, and then as people restored them, they replaced some of these shims with their own shims and just did whatever it took to make these window frames fit. So when I take them apart again, I have to make notes about what shims they used before, how far things were mounted, so that way at least I had a fighting chance at getting it back in. Then when everything is loose, getting the frame out of the door is a real challenge, trying not to scratch anything. Okay, well, I got the passenger side window out, or window frame, but this is the classic case of cascading issues and trying to fix things without taking everything apart. So if you look inside here, this is missing the window felt. So if I'm going to put everything back together and do it right, I need to put the window felt in, which means I have to unscrew this piece to glue it in. I could try to glue it in place, but it's not gonna, you know, you have to clamp it down. You really have to get it to seal. So the best thing to do is pull it out. So now I have to pull this chrome trim piece out of the car and install the window felt before I do anything else. Okay, well, the right door is coming together. I know it's really subtle, but that felt is now installed to that piece and the window is in. I also put in a weather seal, which the last people who worked on it did not put one in, which, you know, is kind of frustrating because that keeps the water shield, keeps the if water goes down the window, it drips down into the door. It's supposed to drain out the bottom, but if if moisture gets inside the door, it will just sit and get onto the back side of the door panel, and that will actually make the door panel warp. So this water barrier keeps the water contained inside the door. A lot of guys don't install it because I don't know, it's just because they feel like, oh, this person will never drive it in the rain. But you know, you never know. Your car could go to a car show, it'd be rainy that day, and water will get inside the doors, and you've got no protection to the inside of your door panels. You spend all that money putting all the leather door panels, all the leather, and then you have the door card, and that just gets warped and more damp and mildewy. So it's not a bad idea to secure, you know, to put a water shield. Also, before everything's put back together, I made sure that the window's going up and down, and that looks pretty good, all smooth and operational. So I'm ready to keep putting this door back together.